Well, look, this has got to end, but you shake your head about this bloke Maguire, a history of bringing, can you believe this, Chinese Communist Party members into the New South Wales State Parliament. According to his pecuniary interest records, he received money from Chinese local government officials for multi-jet-setting junkets to China. ICAC has heard he received money for bringing Communist Party officials into Barry O'Farrell's office in 2012 when Barry O'Farrell was Premier. And the same Communist Party officials helped pay for a September trip in 2009 to China. But listen to this. In 2013, he hosted a press conference inside the Parliament House for a visiting United Front Work Department official. The United Front is a network of groups and individuals influenced and controlled by the Chinese Communist Party and used to advance the interests of the Chinese Communist Party. And this bloke, Maguire, is hosting a press conference for them. At the time, all part of a propaganda attempt to counter the narrative of the Dalai Lama, weeks before his scheduled visit. And as you know, for as long as Tibet has claimed independence from China, the Dalai Lama has been ostracised from many countries. Here was an MP from Wagga in our Parliament House hosting a press conference for an arm of the Chinese Communist Party as a propaganda exercise against the Dalai Lama. I mean, it's bottom of the birdcage stuff. But look, back to the process here. The federal Liberal MP for the seat of Mackellar, Jason Falinski, who succeeded Bronwyn Bishop, has called for ICAC to be abolished, saying it's a kangaroo court and it was ruining the lives of innocent people. He joins us. Jason, good evening. Thank you for your time. No, and I can't argue against that. I mean, they've been wrong too often, haven't they?
Alan, I read your article in today's Telegraph, and I've got to say you said what I've thought for many years, just more eloquently and more compelling than I could say it. You're absolutely right about this.
But nonetheless, I say to you, what could be done? Gladys Berejiklian and Michael Baird had unlimited opportunities to rectify the wrongs and reform the operations. They did nothing. And here are high-profile, innocent people amongst us who still have findings of corruption registered against them. Now, you're saying rather than reform it, abolish it and start again.
Look, I think it is so broken that to attempt to reform it would almost, you'd have to take it down to its foundations and begin again. And the foundations of any proper justice system is it is meant to protect the innocent over the guilty. I really query how any sensible human being could possibly argue after the last week that that's what the Independent Commissioner Against Corruption is still doing.
So, I mean, nothing should be public until evidence given in camera establishes a strong case for the matter to go to the DPP to deliberate on possible prosecution. And you say every time Labor and the crossbenchers say we need a federal ICAC, you stand up and say, well, what about the lives of New South Wales ICAC is destroyed? But nonetheless, what should happen and will it happen?
Well, look, I think what you and Chris Merritt were talking about is absolutely right. There should be a right of exoneration. There should be a right of going back to the first principles. And, you know, the reason that ICAC keeps getting turned over in every court of law is that it was never subjected to the standards of evidence that our justice system has had for 1,000 years. And those standards of evidence are there to protect the powerless against the powerful. And when we got rid of those standards of evidence, that's what we've ended up with in ICAC in New South Wales. It hasn't stopped. It hasn't prevented corruption. Arguably it's done the opposite. But what it has done is criminalise a whole bunch of relationships that are frankly normal relationships.
Good on you.
I mean, I was talking today to another MP, and we were a federal MP, and we were talking about how the bureaucracy hadn't done something. And he joked with me, you know, we better watch what we say on the phone because you never know who's listening. Absolutely. That's the sort of stuff that people used to say under totalitarian regimes.
Absolutely. It's got to stop. Well done. You keep at it. We'll keep at it, Jason. Innocent people have got to be protected. Extraordinary. There he is. Jason Falinski, the federal member for Mackellar.